Brine.
Thanks very much, Mr. Brady. If you'd have called me so earlier, I was really keen to make a contribution to today's important debate, which has been ably laid out by my honourable friend Ford Don Valley, and congratulations to the many people who've signed the petition. It's 13,000, as he said, and I think the second highest number of people who've signed it live in the Winchester constituency, Mr. Brady, which I'll explain why. So it's a subject that I'm interested in, not only as I chair the Health and Social Care Select Committee in the House of Commons. I'm a former public health minister and have sat in the seat where the minister is today many times. But I'm also the constituency MP of Emma, whose lovely brother Owen, and Emma's here today, gives his name to part of today's debate, and obviously one of the petitions and the Owen's Law campaign, of course. And the House will wish to note that I met up with Emma on Friday in Winchester, and heard a bit about her little brother, the tragic circumstances in which he lost his life, and the brilliant campaign, I have to say, that her and the family have put together in his memory. They've hot-footed it from Manchester, where they were on the BBC Breakfast sofa this morning. So it's really great to have them here in the gallery today. Now, the Health Committee recently launched a major new inquiry, as I've said a number of times in this chamber, into prevention of ill health. It's a subject that I'm passionate about. It's one of my top priorities as chair. Obviously, prevention covers a huge range of topics, and that's one of the reasons why we've decided to theme our inquiry around 10 key work streams, which we'll be exploring over the remainder of this year and probably into next as well. A very high number of the submissions that we received to our initial call for evidence were related to food. And although there are perhaps more obvious topics that spring to mind when talking about food and prevention, such as the whole obesity agenda, for instance, I think it's really important that we don't lose sight of just how crucial preventative work is when it comes to supporting people with food allergies and intolerances. So today's debate, Mr. Brady, on these two petitions, I think perfectly illustrates this point. In the case of Owen, whose sad death at the age of just 18 gave rise to the campaign for Owen's Law, and Natasha, who we've heard about as well, these were simply avoidable deaths. They really could have been prevented if there had been better information available about allergens. And I agree with the honourable gentleman from Dagenham about levelling that playing field. I think he put that very well. So to avoid other families suffering the same awful loss that Owen's family and Natasha's family have experienced, it is absolutely essential that the government looks at what more can be done to pull together all of this work that's been done over many years to ensure that people with allergies have the information they need to make informed decisions about what they can and cannot eat. I was really encouraged to see in the government's response to the petition about Owen's Law that the Food Standards Agency met with the Carey family to discuss their proposals, and the agency committed to working with the department to consider how to improve the provision of information to people with food hypersensitivity. But that response was issued back in 2021. So I hope today the Minister can provide us with an update on how that work is progressing. Alongside improving the provision of information about allergens, it's really important, as we've heard, that research continues into food allergies. So there is an improved understanding of how to prevent complications relating to those allergies in the future. Ministers should look to the work proposed by Professor Adam Fox at the British Society for Allergy and Clinical Immunology in this regard. Again, I was encouraged to see in the response to the second petition that the government highlighted the more than £2 million that was allocated by the National Institute for Health Research into food allergies over the preceding 5 years. Again, though, that response dates from 2021, so I hope we can have an update today. I understand the Food Standards Agency will discuss these changes proposed under Owen's Law at their June board meeting, which is very good news. Will the Minister ensure that the strength of feeling in the House today is fed into them ahead of that meeting? Specifically, and I think specifics are important here, we're talking about Regulation 5 of the Food Information Regulations dated 2014. They simply oblige restaurants to provide allergen information accurately, quotes, by any means, which could literally mean anything, just a passing verbal reference. In short, what Owen's Law campaigns for is to change those words by any means to writing that vital information on the menu. And I think that's critically important for the reasons that we've discussed. But, many people don't want to discuss their allergies and their personal health circumstances when they're going for a birthday meal, and that's not unreasonable. So that's the specific, Mr. Brady. I trust the Minister will agree with me that it's essential that we make progress in this area and do so fast. The member for Dagenham said about all the work that's gone on over a decade or more in this respect. The bottom line, Minister, is that the music stops when you're in that chair, and I've been in that chair, and it's a wonderful, wonderful job. It's the best job in government. It's the great opportunity, and the opportunity is yours at this moment. So grab it. There's already an Owen's Law architecture in place in the Republic of Ireland, as we've heard, so could the Minister promise the House that he will look at their example and learn what we can from it? Mr. Brady, we need to see change in the law. We need to see change in the regulations, change in the guidance and industry practice and research into allergies. I won't repeat every ask of the campaign because my honourable friend has done that in opening the debate. But we intend to keep working until we get progress on this. And I promise that as the chair of the Health Select Committee, I will be putting my weight behind this, and we will be looking at this on the Select Committee. Now, Owen had a range of allergies, and although just 18, he'd become very well versed in managing them. And, that got to 18 in managing them well. School lunches, trips, holidays. I've heard that, they had to work so hard to manage them. Owen didn't have to die, Mr. Brady, but he did because he went out for a meal to celebrate his 18th birthday. And I asked his big sister on Friday what she thinks Owen will be doing today. He'd be 23 years old. And Emma said she thought he'd be somewhere in Wales, the family's spiritual home, I understand, probably on the Gower beaches, where his brother Daniel, who's also here today, taught him to surf. He was due to go to Swansea University, I understand. And Emma thinks he'd most definitely be working in something really clever, probably tech and computing, living a very outdoor life to the full, and playing that guitar that he loves so much. He can't do that, Mr. Brady. He can't do any of that now. And that's a tragedy. But we can do something to ensure that his death wasn't in vain, and Natasha's, and to ensure others don't end up in the same position. There's a saying that I like to refer to often in this place, and I used to have it on my desk when I had the minister's job, is that for a moment like this, and you can complete the sentence with anything you like, for a moment like this, we are in Parliament. Please, let's seize the opportunity. Thank you.